Hey guys, we're finally on X, so smash that follow button at Cartier Family, eating with the Z, for your daily dose of content. From video clips to exclusive behind the scenes stuff that we can't even post on YouTube. We'll be posting about politics, just random viral funny stuff, and sports, you name it. Also, our limited time merch is still up for grabs, so don't let it slip away. Join the hundreds of satisfied customers who have copped merch and shown us some love. Thanks so much for your support. It means a lot and it keeps the channel going.
Cartier Family got it figured out, bro.
One more thing, guys, one more thing. We made our official Cartier Family TikTok and think that we're potentially dealing with a shadow ban. So go follow the page, like, and leave a comment on all posts on TikTok. We're also doing a giveaway. All you have to do is follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Take a screenshot of you following us on all the apps, DM us done on Instagram, and you'll have a chance to win free merch. We appreciate you guys for all the support. Let's get into the video.
Wealth, poverty, and politics, quote, "The difference between seeing economic disparities as due to differences in the production of wealth and seeing those disparities as due to the transfer of wealth from some people to other people is fundamental." Explain that.
Well, I think there are a lot of people who regard so-called disparities and inequities in income as something that requires some great explanation. Seem to assume that in the absence of some intervention, everyone would have something roughly equal income. Virtually everything that goes into the production of income varies enormously between groups, between nations, between people on the flatlands and the people in the mountains. You name it, it varies.
It varies. And I take it, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I was reading this, I take it as one of the principal efforts of this book to correct the thinking of Americans who have grown up, most of us, in conditions that, by the standards of human history and by the standards of many other places on the globe today, would be conditions of almost staggering wealth.
Yes. Yeah.
Even poor people in this country have smartphones, televisions, cars, and so forth. And we tend to assume, it may be human nature, we tend to assume that our conditions are normal and conditions that differ from ours are the anomaly. And,
Yeah.
and this book says, no, 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 no.
Well, good heavens, and especially if you look back through time, really it's only within the last 5 or 10% of the existence of human beings that there's been agriculture. I mean, think what that means, that people had to feed themselves hunting and gathering, fishing, herding animals. And of course that meant that you couldn't have cities because for all those other ways of living, you need an enormous amount of land per person. If you were to, one Manhattan would probably be enough, to spread famine throughout the world. So that I start with geography because that's the most implacable obstacle. And geography is anywhere close to being normal. For example, just geographic phenomena. In the great majority of all the tornadoes in the entire world occur in the middle of the United States. You don't hear about tornadoes in London or Paris or Beijing. And you don't hear about them in New York or San Francisco for that matter. That just in one little place in the world, all the conditions are there for a tornado alley. And it's true with so many other things. Nothing is evenly spread out. There are rivers on every continent, but the rivers aren't the same.
Let me add, I was especially struck, let me give you, here's a quotation from the book. Western Europe's rivers often lead out into open seas, providing access to seaports around the world. But most rivers in Eastern and Southern Europe are quite different.
Yes.
What's the difference and what bearing has that had on economic development?
Well, the rivers in Eastern Europe tend to flow into lakes and inland seas. And so when you get to the end of the Danube or the Don, you are not out in the open ocean.
You're in the Black Sea or the Caspian.
That's right. And then if you want to get to the Atlantic, you have to go to the entire length of the Mediterranean to get out there. The rivers in Russia, most of those empty into the Arctic Ocean, which is not quite as convenient as the Atlantic or the Pacific. And what that means is that you can't have the commerce, you can't have industry and whatnot to the same extent that you have. More importantly, you're not connected with the rest of the human race to the same extent. And one of the major findings throughout the book is that isolation almost invariably means poverty and backwardness.
In the mountains,
Yes.
if you live in Eastern Europe or Russia and you're cut off from the rest of the world, isolation leads, in fact, well, we'll get to this in a moment, but it seems even to have an effect on cognitive ability, prolonged isolation.
Oh, sure. Well, certainly in terms of not just sheer knowledge, you don't have the same knowledge, but more than that, you're not aware of how the basic things of life are done differently in other parts of the world. And so people who are isolated will keep doing things for centuries or thousands of years. So, for example, when the British landed in Australia, they find the Australian Aborigines are living really at a Stone Age level. Similarly, when people from Europe came to the Canary Islands, the same thing. They had no idea of iron. In Australia, they had no idea of iron. It's one of the great sources of iron ore in the world.
He cooking.
Life ain't fair.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. Everything is not fair.
It's never gonna be fair.
Work with what you got.
You got to play the hand you dealt.
Like I said, they could have gave us a chalkboard and a room, and it was on us. We don't got computers. And y'all got computers. We don't got the books. Y'all got the books.
You know what? But you know what? See, that is because we see, we see this, right?
Different perspectives.
We see this. So, but when we say it, you get labeled. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
That is the problem.
But that's all he also said. We need to do something different. Try something different. That's basically the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's because we're not doing something different.
Yeah. We continue to vote for
We're
the
doing
same
something
people.
different. Something
Going for the same
something's
things?
going good here.
That's what I'm saying, though. You continue voting for the same people, continue doing the same things, get the same result.
Culture's the same.
And then you look up, well,
Why is everything?
Why-
Why is everything the same? It's because the white man.
That's a sign of insanity.
Facts.
it's the definition of insanity.
Facts.
No.
Doing the same thing over and
Hey.
over, expecting a different result.
The analogies. It will not happen. The analogies here, right here, is insane.
Nice.
It's just like he's like,
it's
yeah, all
always
across the
Thomas,
world. It's like
To the-
Russia, they can't do no trading. Economy done. Their economy will never
In
be as
Dubai.
good as America's, no matter what. No matter what.
In Dubai, everything moves different over there. Apparently, everybody have money over there.
Nah,
Just the
I see
culture.
something that's not true.
Well, I bet it's not.
But yeah, I see what you're saying though.
But yeah, everybody moves.
It look
different.
like it.
No, they said they got some people. They got some.
So if we want different as black
broke
people,
ass people who from there,
That's
if we,
slave.
if we want different as black people, we got to move different.
In Eastern Europe or Russia and you're cut off from the rest of the world, isolation leads, in fact, well, we'll get to this in a moment, but it seems even to have an effect on cognitive ability, prolonged isolation.
Oh, sure. Well, certainly in terms of not just sheer knowledge, you don't have the same knowledge, but more than that, you're not aware of how the basic things of life are done differently in other parts of the world. And so people who are isolated will keep doing things for centuries or thousands of years. So, for example, when the British landed in Australia, they find the Australian Aborigines are living really at a Stone Age level. Similarly, when people from Europe came to the Canary Islands, the same thing. They had no idea of iron. In Australia, they had no idea of iron. It's one of the great sources of iron ore in the world.
Staying with geography for a moment, again, one of the themes that seems to me to run through the book is this question of your resistance to notions of, to attempting to impose notions of morality on economic conditions. So, for example, with geography, some people happen to be born in Western Europe where the rivers lead to the sea, and some people happen to be born in Russia where some rivers lead to the frozen Arctic and some rivers lead to the Black Sea. And it's nobody's fault.
Yes.
It's luck.
Yes.
Or sheer happenstance. Nobody's robbing anybody else.
Yes, as one economic historian said, the world has never been a level playing field.
From a review
Never.
of wealth, poverty, and politics in the Washington Post. Now, I'm going to I don't want you to swing at me, all right? Sowell
I got a
does
weird
manage to score a
statement, y'all.
clean hit on those who now complain that income inequality.
So a person from Africa that never had water, a house, a shed, or anything, they could say we white white privilege.
They've been saying that.
They say that.
No, my
they
mom
say
said
that all the
African
time.
people- My mom said African
They
people
literally say that all the
in
time.
her school when she was coming
They
up, hated
bro,
black people.
Bro, African people
privileged.
say that all the time.
I'm
bro.
blessed to be from
You
America.
can go on
Facts.
YouTube right now and you put up a video of someone going to Africa and interviewing them. They'll say they're very privileged, but they complain. That's what they do. That's
It's
what
facts.
they do.
It's facts.
Over there, if you broke, they will let your ass starve and the sun will come up the next day and people gonna keep moving.
You have to realize.
Here, you can live off the state.
So you
till
love
you
the
die.
facts. You-
People have to realize something. People in Africa will literally kill for this opportunity that we have because they're out there trying to get education. They're trying to build a life, and they have nowhere near the resources we have. They don't have the same infrastructure. They don't have the same type of opportunities. They don't even have. A lot of them don't have access to the internet, bro. And like the things that we take for granted would be groundbreaking, world changing. There,
Niggas ain't got shoes.
You know what? And a lot of
I watched a school on Casanat stream where the kids go get an education. It was literally sinking underground.
No, I seen that. That's absolutely absurd. And we got a black man, any man, sitting on the block, sitting in the hood with designer on, with a water bottle, with a Draco, talking about he, you know what I'm saying, trying to spin on his house. He trying to get out the hood from hip hop.
You want to know the thing about the hood?
He had
you
no
want,
choice.
You want to know the thing about the
I ain't
hood
no
is
choice.
like they try to say like white people are the biggest like problem and stuff, but if you go to the hood and you're not from there, your biggest threat is not white people. It's someone that's never seen you before that's just gonna cause harm to you for being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Hey, man.
It's a shame.
Hey, man.
Think
It's
how
a
that
shame.
mess you up as a
They'll
kid.
blame
This might
you.
be-
They'll blame
this
white people
video.
for destroying black neighborhoods, but black on black violence and black crime in these neighborhoods is off the fucking charts. But it's the white person's
Let
fault.
Thomas cook.
Well, they gonna say it's because it's not enough privilege around
It's
fair.
systemic factors that white people put in place for us to kill ourselves and
That's
hurt each
why
other.
Democrats are the top 3 problems in the black community.
I think a lot of the rhetoric they push is a huge factor.
I agree.
You know, some people try to go off of. There was some bad instances that did happen in the
with
bad.
FBI,
For sure.
you know,
But I feel
100%.
like
we got it.
we gotta move
100%.
forward.
Yeah, we
100%. I would never deny that. That's historically facts.
That's what
But-
some people gonna
but-
use as their argument.
But
though.
even spite that, we've managed to get in the position that we're in.
And to that, it's like
And we all
what the
come from
lady said in the
different
last
backgrounds.
video. That might, I think the truth is why black people are the way they are. It's partly because of that. But we can't sit here and say that it's not also partly because of the culture. It's both. You know, maybe there was systematic racism and things like that. And that is maybe a reason as to
Maybe the
why.
Democrat Party is the Scooby-Doo.
But the biggest problem to me is definitely the culture. But like you can't to sit there and say that the culture is not a problem at all.
It's
is
it's
insane.
conspiracies that the Democrats created this damn culture. So maybe we need to pull back the. We trying to.
Planned
we done did that.
Parenthood.
The Democrats set the
Democrat
FBI
plantation.
to put crack in the neighborhoods.
Yeah,
the
who put the crack in the
CPS.
The hip
neighborhood? Who
hop.
put the crack in the neighborhood? 'Cause that's
The
best problem.
Democrat.
Is that a fact?
Well, they was trying to blame it
But
on.
hey,
Who was the president in 19?
put them
Reagan.
on crack. Put them on crack.
He's a Republican.
Put them on crack.
They said
welfare.
That looks bad on Republicans.
they try to say Reagan, but Reagan wasn't trying to give people like life sentence. Wasn't he Reagan?
He was. Didn't he do the war on drugs?
No, that the war on drugs was Nixon.
Yeah.
Okay.
The person that did the war on
right.
drugs was only Ronald Reagan's wife did the DARE program.
Okay.
She started that. She said, "Say no to drugs." I remember that. That's when we used to see the little lion with her. So
I know Dare. All right, man. Let's
Yeah.
let him cook.
And it's nobody's fault.
Yes.
It's luck
Yes.
or sheer happenstance. Nobody's robbing anybody else.
Yes. As one economic historian said, you know, the world has never been a level playing field.
From a review of wealth, poverty, and politics in the Washington Post. Now, I'm going to I don't want you to swing at me, all right? Sowell does manage to score a clean hit on those who now complain that income inequality is too high by noting their refusal to say what level of inequality they would consider acceptable. Fair enough. What we also learn in this book, however, is that there is apparently no level of inequality of income or opportunity that Thomas Sowell would consider unacceptable, close quote. And you reply?
Well, it's hard to know where to begin when someone misses the whole point of the whole book. Of course, the big confusion among the redistributionists is between opportunity and outcomes. And one of the examples I used in a recent column was that, you know, when I was a kid, I briefly tried to play basketball. And I mean, I was lucky to hit the backboard, never mind the basket, you know. But I had just as much opportunity to play basketball as Michael Jordan
Have you
had.
seen this clip?
You cannot measure opportunity by outcomes.
Facts.
And that's what the redistributionists
Facts.
insist on doing. They say this group obviously didn't have equal opportunity because they were turned down for loans more so than that group. Yes, if you have lower credit scores, you'll be turned down for loans more so than people with high credit scores.
The American economist Henry Hazlitt puts it this way: the real problem of poverty is not a problem of distribution, but of production. The poor are poor not because something is being withheld from them, but because, for whatever reason, they are not producing enough. The popular board game Monopoly, which depicts an ideal scenario where at the beginning of an economy there is distribution of wealth and everyone gets an equal share of that wealth, also reflects the fact that by the end of the economy, not everyone has the same amount of wealth they had at the beginning. And that difference is mainly reflected by the choices they made, the actions they took, and most importantly, a ton of chance. And that is a fundamental fact that the anointed deliberately give a blind eye to today. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Y'all want to hear a weird stat? They said,
facts. I
they
think that's
said
good.
our generation is more likely to say it's better to rent than to actually buy a home.
Well, that's because in 50 states in America, it's cheaper to rent than own. It's actually more financially smart to rent than own due to the percentages and the
rates is
inflation rates.
insane.
Like, so that's probably why.
Wow.
Probably plays a huge factor in that. I thought that was a great video. As always, I love watching Thomas Sowell. I feel like I'm better after the video than I was before.
Jordan Peterson talks a lot about that too. Equality of outcome never happens in any society, and it's never happened in the history of the world. And so what you do is you create a system to where you try to make the most people have a good outcome, the majority of people you can, and I believe that America has that system.
I think that there's a lot of things in place to try to disrupt that system, but I also think that the game Monopoly is a great example of how the distribution of wealth won't help you be successful. I mean, the actions that you take
come
will,
down to luck and the actions and choices you take.
Yeah.
Wow.
Luck plays a part.
I wouldn't want
Some
to
people
be
born rich,
nowhere
some
else
people-
on
you might
this
not be lucky,
planet besides America. Because if I lose it all, I can pick it back up easier. Some places in Africa, man, you're cooked.
done.
You're cooked. I don't care what you do.
They selling people
I
as
do not
slaves.
want.
Bro,
Yes, they're literally
My,
selling
grand,
people
bro,
as
my
as
grandma
slaves.
told, bro, my grandma has money in Ghana, bro. She said if you need a doctor's appointment, it could be 6 months. before
You could
get
just
in.
die. Man, people, hey, but if anybody say one thing about America, I'm upset at this point.
People don't know how good we got
They
it,
don't,
bro.
they don't, bro. You don't know how good you got a lot of things. You know, it's like
Until
you
it's
don't know
gone.
how blessed you are to be able to walk until you can't walk no more. Imagine we don't take the air, but if you can't breathe,
I thank God for a
wish
lot
you
of
had that
things.
air.
I'm finna start thanking God for being in America. No, I'm serious. You don't think I'm playing, bro.
This is not.
No, this is actually serious. Like, you got me thinking about life. Like, man,
Yeah, it's
I
deep.
could have been anywhere, man.
Could have been anywhere.
Like, I could have been, you know, an orphan kid somewhere, anywhere.
Nah, facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Anywhere.
Facts.
And life just
A lot
turned
of
out.
in the fact
Man,
that if you
God,
make
it's
over
insane.
$50,000 US, you're in the 0.1 richest people in the world.
Yeah, man.
50,000
Guys,
US
we're all
dollars.
blessed to be an American. We're blessed, guys. Let us know what y'all think. Thomas Sowell cooked.